Use the referral link in the description to g2a.com for all of your Xbox codes, PlayStation codes and video games, and be sure to use the code CHES at checkout to get yourself 3% cash back. Hey guys, welcome to episode 21 of the Newcastle series here on FIFA 19. This is the final episode of Season 1. We'll be having a final season roundup. We'll have a look at all the competitions we were involved in, the other larger competitions around Europe, including the Champions League, and we've briefly been able to see who won that on screen a moment ago as it flicked around on the graphic. We'll also have a look at our own squad, how they grew this year, and also take into account what we think might be happening in the transfer window upcoming with players going out and players coming in. So there's a lot to be discussed, there's a lot to be thought about and dwelled upon, but we'll have a look and start with the season that we had. And to be fair, after the way that Newcastle are playing in real life, the way that we started the season, and the general overall strength of the squad, very pleased with a 12th placed finish. It could have been a couple of places higher if we'd been better on the final two games of the season, if we'd have won both of those, or even just one of them, specifically the game against Fulham, then we might well have finished 10th. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But Southampton, Cardiff and West Ham are relegated to the Championship for next season. Winning the league are Tottenham Hotspur, ahead of Everton, who are second, Chelsea and then Arsenal. Manchester United in the Europa League, City with no European football next year, neither at Anfield either. Liverpool also finishing outside the top 5. Very, very surprising final way that the league table read. Liverpool only 3 points away from the Champions League. So to be fair, it's very close between Chelsea and Liverpool. Only 4 points separating 5 teams. So it could quite easily have gone either way. We, though, will settle for 12th. I'm very pleased with that, and it gives us confidence we might be able to push on next year and do slightly better. Maybe even qualify for the Europa League with regards to the board's expectations for us over a 2-year period. The FA Cup was won by Liverpool over Chelsea by a 1-0, as you can see there. Moving forward, the Carabao Cup was also won by Liverpool by 4-1. So a domestic double for Liverpool. Both competitive cups were won by them. The pre-season tournament was won by Borussia Mönchengladbach. We didn't do too well in that. Atletico Madrid won the European Super Cup ahead of Real Madrid by 3-2. And as we saw in the graphic earlier on, Bayern Munich won the Champions League by 2-0 ahead of Real Madrid. In the Europa League, City win by 2-0. So actually, Manchester City will be in the Champions League next year, despite finishing 7th. So that might throw, I'm not sure what it does for the English teams in that competition next year. Because Arsenal finished 4th, they might not be in the Champions League next year because City won the Europa League. I'm not sure how it works because they did change the ruling in the past few years. You guys will have to let me know in the comment section down below. The Copa America is ongoing at present, so we can see there, or could have seen there what the groups were. But having a quick look around the other leagues, actually I can press Y and pick competition, can't I? The other leagues around England and then Europe, of course. Joining us next year in the Premier League will be Derby County and Swansea City. Wow. Only 3 points separating, only 5 points separating first from 6th. So close at the top of the Championship. Forest, West Brom, Stoke and Sheffield Wednesday will fight it out for a Premier League spot in the playoffs. Relegated are Bolton, Ipswich and Hull. Both Ipswich and Hull find themselves in the relegation zone in real life. So quite realistic there. Sunderland smash it in the League One table by winning the title. 2 points clear of Charlton. Then one of, hopefully not, Peterborough. Oxford United, Fleetwood and Burton will get promoted into the Championship for next season. Relegated are Gillingham, Wimbledon, Accrington Stanley and Coventry City. Promoted from League 2, MK Dons, Lincoln and Notts County will get automatic promotion. 2 sides scoring over 100 points. One of Mansfield, Northampton, Exeter and Colchester will be joining them in the League One season next year. Cambridge 17th, which is good for me. Were recently in the relegation zone in real life. Thankfully, 3 straight wins have seen us claw ourselves out of it. Macclesfield, rock bottom on just 20 points. 46 games played, 3 wins. No, you don't deserve to be in the league anymore. 12 points above them, but still 11 points from safety, Yeovil Town. The two of them cut adrift at the bottom, most certainly not cut out for that level of competition. In France, Paris Saint-Germain reached the 100-point mark, 20 points clear of Marseille. In Germany, it's Bayern Munich by a number of points, 9 in total, ahead of Schalke. Dortmund only third, a full 7 points behind Schalke. That's the third division in Germany. That's the Irish League. Come on, Ches. Serie A. Juventus by 4 points from Napoli. Then Inter Milan following up AC Milan. It's goal difference or head-to-head. I think it's goal difference in Serie A that sees AC Milan finish above Inter. And then we shall have a quick look at La Liga as well. Barcelona by 3 points from Villarreal. Real Madrid in 5th. 5th place for Real Madrid. 12 draws, only 20 victories. Wow. I don't know when the last time was that Real Madrid finished that low in real life. 5th place for Real. That's practically unheard of. Let's have a look at the top goal scorers. So Eden Hazard shares the golden boot with Teixeira, Heung-min Son and Raul Jimenez, all of which scoring 16 goals. And in fact, Raul Jimenez scored it in a number less than all of the other guys. So he probably would have won the golden boot outright had he played more games. Our highest goal scorer isn't on that list there. Do we get anyone in the top 25? Yes, Iosi Perez with 9 in 33. We did at least get someone in there. Assist-wise, what a season for Eden Hazard. 8 assists as well as his 16 goals. Iosi Perez, great season for him too. Joint top with 8 assists. And Maximilian Philip there with 7. Matt Ritchie there with 6 as well. Dwight Gale with 6. Number of players sharing all of the assists in our team this season. And Dubravka kept 8 clean sheets in 38 games. De Gea winning the Golden Glove for the Premier League this season. Now, I do want to show you my youth squad actually, because I've signed a couple of youth players that are particularly exciting. We have matched one of the 2 youth development expectations of us this season, which is surprising because a number of the youngsters I've signed in the past 2 weeks in game, off camera between the last episode and this one, I would have thought would have met the criteria for the second one. Brand exposure, we did the top one. Long term, they want us to increase the season ticket holders by at least 10% of the stadium's capacity. We haven't done it this year. We might do it next year. Financially, reduced player wages by £44,000 a week. Only 50% was done this year, and we spent all of our money. So unfortunately, none of the critical expectations were met. Domestic success, so what a mid-table finish. We finished 12th. Didn't quite do it in the FA Cup. Disappointed with that. And we have another season to be able to achieve a Europa League spot. But we will have to do it next year, otherwise the board will be particularly disappointed in us. Now, youth players. Toby Mitchell, 65 rated, valued at £1 million. 76 to 94 is his potential. He's literally only been in the club a week or 2, and he looks great. He's going to be a really good prospect. We have Jamie Moore, left-sided midfielder, 15 years of age, also potential 74 to 94. And we'll see if he can grow too well or grow quite well next season. 79 to 94 for Sergio Vega, Spanish central midfielder. Looks good technically, as you would expect a lot of Spaniards to be. On the right-hand side, Lennart Schmitz from Germany, 78 to 94, 61 rated overall. Really promising. We should be able to see in the full scout report, full squad report even, their potential, hopefully. Or a number of them that are over 60 rated, at least 76 to 94 for Timo Kuhn. Cam, quite quick already, but could definitely do with some improvements technically. And then we've 64 rated Simon Guerrero, 67 to 91, his potential ability. At just 17 years of age, those are great technicals. Unfortunately, he's only 5'10", which is really frustrating. Only 5'10". Could do with some training, and he could become a very, very good player for us. I'm not sure if he can play in other positions. I will promote him to the senior team, and in fact, I'll do the same for a number of these youngsters. Vega, will we do that for him? Yeah, well, I might as well send him out on loan next year. Mightn't I? So let's... Oh, I just released him. Why would it... Oh, he must have been 15. Well, we won't be... Well done, cheers. We won't be signing... him permanently. Timo Kuhn, we'll call up and send him out on loan. 77 to 91 for Tom Zimmerman. I'm not overly sure about him, although he looks promising technically. 69 Kerr, 64 long shots, 66 volleys. High ball control and dribbling. So he could be okay. Again, we'll promote him. And then Jan Roth. 86 to 94 potential for him. 86 to 94. He most certainly is getting promoted. And we will look to send all of those guys out on loan next season. And then season 3, they could really become very, very good players for us. So let's... Actually, we looked through the board objectives, didn't we? Let's have a final look at the squad report and then think about next season. Dubravka up 1 to 79 at 30 years of age. So still growing very well, despite the fact that he's, in FIFA terms, aging out at the top. So pleased to keep, or happy to keep him as my number 1 goalkeeper next year. Freddie Woodman is now 78 rated. I'll stop training him now and concentrate on some of these youngsters. He looks like he's going to be a very adequate backup goalkeeper for us. At right back, we have Sterry, who's still out on loan, up 2 this year. Cass, who's up 2 as well, and DeAndre Yedlin. Now, we mentioned in the last episode that DeAndre Yedlin has been good for me, but his lack of height and strength has been an issue at times. So I am looking to replace him in the starting lineup, but not replace him in the squad. I would like him to still be my backup right back, meaning I will look to sell Javier Manquillo next season. At centre back, Leun has grown up 2. I will add him to the transfer list. I would like to sell him. Yanni's contract is expiring. I'm happy to let him go. Lascelles will stay. Cher, he's grown 2 this year and been very solid for me. He will stay. Wagner, we've trained him heavily. 76 rated now. I will probably ease off his training and let him grow naturally. His potential is showing great potential. So I think that's just the late 80s, isn't it? Or is that early 90s? No, I think something special is the early 90s. But still, he's been very good when he's played for me already this season. Hopefully he will continue to grow next year. He may even be pushing Fabian Cher for that starting spot. Although, of course, we do have Diego Reyes coming in on a free transfer. So keep that in mind. We have Watts, who I will probably look to send out on loan or sell next year. In fact, is his contract expiring? It's not. We have Guerrero, who I will add to the loan list. Unfortunately, he is only centre-back for him. If he could play at CDM as well, then he would have been superb. And I could have trained him with his passing stats. We still could perhaps utilise him as a CDM, but 5'10" for a centre-back. Perhaps he's going to be more of an Azpilicueta type, but not quite as fast. We'll have to wait and see. But great physicals already at just 17 years of age. And Federico Fernandez, I am looking to move on still at 30 years of age. So centre-backs next year, we will have Lascelles, Cher, Wagner and Reyes, who's coming in, plus the potential for Guerrero if he stays at the club and we can't find him a loan deal. At left-back, Philip Max and Ben Chilwell will remain my starting left-back. Chilwell actually would like to leave, but I'm going to try and keep him at the club. Manquillo, I am going to sell and buy a new right-back. That is my aim, at least, for next season. Lazar, we shall also add to the transfer list and try and raise some extra funds by the sale of him as well. We have in central midfield, Jack Colback will come back from loan. Isaac Hayden, I'm going to look to sell. Central midfield is really going to be a place where we're going to look to spend the majority of our money next year, I think. Matt Ritchie, I'm going to look to sell as well. We've, of course, got Eduardo Salvio coming in from Benfica on a free. He will start on the right-hand side ahead of Ritchie. Ritchie will be looked to be sold. Callum Roberts, I'll probably look to sell as well. He's currently on the loan list, but in fact, I might remove him from the loan list and put him on the transfer list. Mitchell, Toby Mitchell, 5-star, 5-star. Wow. Okay. Right then. What's his potential? An exciting prospect. It was mid-70s to mid-90s was the majority. 5-star, 5-star. Very keen on seeing how he grows this season. Very keen. Jacob Murphy, add to the transfer list. He could be sold. Vega, 4-star skills, 3-star weak foot. Has potential to be special. Sergio Vega. We will add him to the loan list. Hopefully he can go out and grow quite well. Zimmerman, I won't be able to see what his potential is because he's not quite 60 rated, but he's got 4-star weak foot. 6'2", could be a good force later in the save. Longstaff, I think his contract is expiring actually. Longstaff it is. Ambar Laser. Ruben Loftus-Cheek will go back to Chelsea, but I would be interested in signing him permanently, although his price will continue to rise because, of course, He is 80 rated now and has been growing whilst he's been on loan, despite the fact I've not been training him. And he's played very well for me. 5 goals, 3 assists. You guys have enjoyed watching him play. I've enjoyed using him. Might be a genuine option for me. Ki Sung-young. I do like Ki, but he's 30 now and his stats are starting to drop. So Ki will go onto the transfer list next season. I can't add him on there this season because he was a new signing this year. John Joe Shelby also being added to the transfer list. As far as I'm concerned, underperformed this year. Not good enough for his rating. I'd like to get the money available to buy him or buy someone else in his place. We are looking for big changes in the centre of midfield. Henri Saive, add to the transfer list as well. We really are looking for a lot of changes in central midfield. On the left-hand side, Kennedy was in on loan this year, grew by 2. I'd very much be open to signing him on a permanent. About the same sort of valuation as Ruben Loftus-Cheek, presently slightly less, but we'll have to wait and see if we can sign him permanently next year. I would very much like to. 8 goals for him this year, 6 of which coming in the Premier League. Very, very good on my left-hand side. Timo Kuhn, he's can play centre forward as well, supposedly, but not able to see his potential yet because he is under 60 rated. Jan Roth has potential to be special. We will add him to the loan list. Jan Roth, 86 to 94, I think it was, wasn't it, with his potential? He's going to be really good. Ayuzi Perez at striker. Very good season for me this year. Up 3 ratings overall. Heading at crease, he's actually up 10. I trained his passing, of course, a little bit. 11 goals for him, my top goal scorer, I think, this year. Kennedy with 8, Maximilian Philipp with 10, and he got 8 assists as well. So overall, arguably my best player this year. Lennart Schmidt, also 5-star skills. 2 5-star skillers in the youth prospects. That's very promising. He's an exciting prospect, so not quite as high as the rest, but we will also add him to the loan list. We've got a good batch of youngsters here on the horizon. Yannick, we will add to the loan list next year as well. He's up 4 this year, growing of his own accord, so doing okay. Maximilian Philipp, 4-star, growing well. Started very promisingly, had a bit of a lull in the middle of the season, and then came good again towards the end. 10 goals, 7 assists for him this year. 8 goals of which coming in pre-season. 1 in the Carabao Cup, 1 in the FA Cup. Happy to keep him as my starting striker. Muto wants to leave. He very much wants to leave, so I would be open to selling him. We could do that next year. He was a new signing this season, of course, from real life. Dwight Gale, I'm quite happy to keep him as a backup striker. Although, if Muto leaves, we would perhaps need to look to sign someone else as well, just for numbers. I'm not sure. And then Hudson-Odoi. It's been decent for me, up 4. Grown really well, but I'm probably not going to look to sign him. If I bring Kennedy in and Ruben Loftus-Cheek in, I don't then want to sign a 3rd Chelsea youngster as well. I'd perhaps like to sign from elsewhere, otherwise we just might end up becoming Chelsea reserves. We don't want to do a Liverpool with Southampton, basically. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in that regard. But I'm very, very excited about a couple of those youth prospects. Very excited. So we'll have to wait and see what happens next season with their growth. But there's a lot to be done. Starting lineup-wise, we're going to have a number of players going out, hopefully, and then also a number of players coming in, 2 of which will come in on freeze at the very beginning of next season. So Season 2 is going to be very exciting. Hopefully, we'll keep the excitement going all the way through the season. I did notice with the view levels and just the general interest in this series that it did peter off towards the end as we kind of found out that we were really not going to be involved in a relegation fight and not really going to be pushing for Europe. It was just mid-table stability. The interest in the series waned off. Hopefully next year we can keep the entire season exciting and go for long runs in both cup competitions. But that remains to be seen. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of those youngsters. Particularly excited about a couple of them. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel too to make sure you don't miss out on episode 1 of Season 2 tomorrow. My play tonight. I'll see you then.